What's up everyone, and welcome to my review for The Internship, a brand new film starring Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, back together again after Wedding Crashers, and directed by Shawn Levy, the guy that did Real Steel, which I really liked, and The Night at the Museum films, which I didn't really care for, but and some other films. I think he directed Cheaper by the Dozen, the remake, yeah, and maybe the sequel too, I'm not really sure, but yeah. This movie, I wouldn't say I was excited for, but I wasn't dreading seeing it because I do really like Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, and I thought the trailers themselves, while very cheesy and obviously predictable, and it had Google, that was cool, and also I like Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, and I thought the trailer was kind of funny in parts, so I wasn't dreading seeing this film. So, what did I think of The Internship? Let's talk about the story. Alright, so the story for The Internship follows Billy, played by Vince Vaughn, and Nick, played by Owen Wilson, who are two middle-aged, I say that for a reason, salesmen who are really good at their jobs. They can sell the crap out of anything. No, I'm sorry. They can sell the shiz out of anything because they are that good. They can sell anything, but the thing is, they don't get fired, but their company that they work for closes down because watches, that's what they sell, are just not popular anymore because technology is way more advanced now. You can, check your friggin' time on your phone now, so they don't need watches, so they are out of a job. So Vince Vaughn's character, Billy, finds out that Google is hiring for internships, and he gets an interview for an internship and brings Nick along, and they of course get the internship and they go to Google, and of course it's old school versus new school because they get teamed up with a bunch of young kids that know coding and all this, and of course they're old, so they have no idea what the hell's going on. They barely even know what a computer is. So it's old school versus new school, hijinks ensue. Are they gonna get the job? Who knows? That's the story, really. That's pretty much the story. It's extremely predictable. It's obvious, but the only thing that's actually different about this than most stories is Google. That's it. Google. We haven't really used Google in a film, so let's use Google. That's the only difference between this and so many other generic plots that are a lot like it. The story is just super predictable. I mean, you know where it's gonna go, and if you don't, come here. Shame on you. You know where it's going. You should, at least. If you watch any movie that's just a little bit like this, you know where it's gonna go. It's super predictable, but I'm gonna tell you straight up, I enjoy the story. Like, I know I say that so many times, oh, the story sucks, but I enjoyed it. You know why? Because of the characters. Now, I'm not going to say the side characters, the Google character, the young people that are all like, witty and smart and stuff, smarter than the old dudes because we know computers. I'm not going to say they're likable, not at first at least. Later on, when they, loosen up, I would say, they become actually likable. And Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, I love those guys. I really do. I have a soft spot for both Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. When they're both in a movie, I'm happy. And they've only been in a movie together once with Wedding Crashers. At least that's what I think. There might be one other movie, I can't remember. But they are great. They have great chemistry. They are really likable. The characters are very simple. They're very Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn-esque, but they're really likable, and I just enjoy watching them. And luckily, they are on screen for most of the time. And there's plenty of times where they get to be on screen together and just have some fun, and it is very entertaining watching them. So yeah, the story is super generic. You know where it's going to go. Whenever it separates from Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn together and they're on their separate ways, it slows down. But when they're together and they're just hanging around, having fun, I'm having fun. Oh yeah, the only thing that makes this story different from others is Google. That's it. But I did like the characters, like I said. There's actually a lot of funny moments. I actually did laugh a lot. Now, there is a lot of obvious, jokes that are coming up, like, oh, look at this fat kid, or oh, look at that, that's funny, look at that sight gag, that's not that funny. But at times where Owen Wilson and, of course, Vince Vaughn get on screen and talk to some of the other characters, and even some of the other characters are kind of funny at times. But, of course, they're over-exaggerations of stereotypes, like nerds and whatever. But at times, they can be funny too. But the main reason to see this film, main reason comedy-wise, is for the main two characters. And they are actually really funny, and they play off each other perfectly. The acting is a lot of fun here. They do a great job, like I said. But you also have Rose Byrne in the film, who plays a love interest. Let me just say that. It's obvious, I'm sorry. But she's great in this. I love Rose Byrne. She is extremely hot, and I really like her character. I can't remember any of the other actors. I mean, you have John Goodman, you have some other side characters there, have actors, of course. I can't remember any of the actors. I don't know any of them, but let's just say this. all of the actors did a damn good job for what they were, for what their character was. And they portrayed it good. There was no terrible acting at all. Everybody was having a good time, and I could tell that. So, you know what, let me just say this. Acting was good. You know what, let me just wrap this up by saying this, okay? The story itself is predictable. It is. I keep saying that, but I have to say it's predictable. I mean, there's characters in the film that we've seen in other films, even though they're likable here, we've seen them before. Like, we have the shy kid that, of course, in one part's going to get liquored up, and he's going to be crazy. He's going to be the craziest of them all. And we've seen that character before. We've seen the douchebag intern that just wants to ruin the main characters because he's a douchebag. We've seen that before. We've seen the boss guy that's really tough on the main characters, but at the end he has a lighthearted side to himself. We've seen that so many times, and all those are in this film. But again, I had fun. It's a really long film. It shouldn't have been about 2 hours long. It definitely shouldn't have. But you know what? At least it didn't bore me. It did not. There's times where I was like, okay, move it along. But then it did, and I had some fun. Even while it wasn't funny at times, I still enjoyed it, and it actually moved pretty quickly. So while it's long, it moved quickly, if that makes sense. I don't know. But you know what? I still thought it was a lot of fun. It's predictable, but go into it for a matinee. Just go into there expecting Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson make you happy, and you'll be happy. I was happy. So you know what? I left the theater going, you know what? Good time. I'm gonna give this a 28 out of 40. Not the best movie ever, no, but it is enjoyable. So there you go. There's my review for The Internship. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and goodbye.